Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. We continue our learning midweek as we're getting closer to Chag Purim. Of course, tomorrow on Thursday, Tanis Esther will be observed. An unusual year where Tanis Esther does not go directly into Purim. That's because Purim falls after Shabbos, Motzei Shabbos, and Sunday. We continue our learning. Zechus Chayalei Tzvagana Yisrael, Refuah Shalema to all those who need. It's a safe return of all of our hostages, and we dedicate our learning in memory and in honor of a real Israeli hero, Captain Daniel Perez, Daniel Shimon ben Harav, Doron Visheli, Hashem Yakum Damo. The next chapter, Isra Kamas Yechidus Mirvas B'Shirs Behen. What about mixed units in the army? Al Pisha Mashalamanu, Barur Shasur Mator Lakim Batzahal, Based on what we've learned, it's very clear that it's a Torah prohibition to have a mixed unit of men and women together in the army. He said it's also forbidden for a soldier to be involved in missions or operations or any sort of maneuvers in the military that are very intensive with women. But you shouldn't ask the following. After all, one can work in a store, one can work in a bank, any sort of environment where you have men and women together. Because we have learned that when it comes to army life, you have to be extra careful. You have to be overly zealous when it comes to tznius, when it comes to modesty, than you would have in civilian life. Furthermore, he says you cannot compare the closeness that takes place every single day in an army unit versus civilian life. Also, a person has a family life, and every night after work, you return home, you go to your family life, and it curbs the Yetzer Hara. He says we have to make a further differentiation. Shagil hasherut hatzvai hu tzair yoser v'habachurim v'habachuros ravakim. We're talking about, generally speaking, that in army maneuvers and in operations and in the military, they're much younger. Most of the men and women are single. Therefore, we have to be more careful when it comes to modesty. B'nusaf l'kach, b'chayei ezrachus, adam hamargish shemakom avodaso makom limudav alulum lavil lidei avera, tzorech lazavos makom avodaso limudav k'dei lishmar al tzinos v'kedushaso. If a person feels in the workplace or in civilian life that his surroundings are not conducive for his Yetzer Hara, for his behavior, so he has to do everything he can to change his surroundings. But in the army, you don't have such a luxury to say, I need to leave. You're posted where you're posted. Your position, you're in the unit in which you are. So therefore, you don't have that option necessarily to leave. If someone will come and claim the following. Now, the rabbis have to educate their students how to handle their inclinations. He says you should answer such a claim that anyone who says this, it's indicative of the fact that he does not understand any of the basic foundations of the Torah. The Torah doesn't worry and concern itself only with individual righteous people, but to every single person. And certainly to those who will give in to their inclinations easily. The Torah deals with them as well. That's why we have protective fences around the mitzvos. And the more that we speak about centrality of mitzvos, so too the gates, the fences that surround them are even greater. So let's take, for example, the mitzvah of believing in God and also the prohibition against worshipping foreign deities. Ad shelafi Rambam b'Mor Nevuchim, Rabos mitzvos haTorah mashmashos k'siyagim ne avodah zarah. So much so that even the Rambam in the Mor Nevuchim, he says that so many of the mitzvahs in the Torah are only there as a gate, as a protective fence to prevent us from worshipping idols. And this is the way that our sages went. That the more important, more foundational this topic is, or this yesod, this ikar of Judaism, so there are even more fences that have been established around it. Also, faithfulness, love between a married couple is something that's very sanctified. And therefore, Chazal established many gates so that a person can be careful and watch over and make sure that his love is directed only to his mate. And even someone who is righteous his whole life, it's possible that one day he could stumble. And that one mishap can ruin his whole family life. If anything we've learned, one of the great lessons of Chazal in the Gemara and Ksubas and Daf Yud Gimel, say ein apotropos la'arayis, which means that anyone can stumble when it comes to arayas, when it comes to relations between men and women and yetzer hara, and no one should feel that they are safe from this possible test. Mitoch magamazu asul haskim ki rak yichidas misyamo shel bnei yeshivas yu kedushos. He says, so according to this, we can't say that, only the elite, those who are super righteous, those who are super frum, that they're sanctified, v'shar machni elo kadosh, v'yirbo ervas davar, and only they should be separate, but the rest of the army, they could do whatever they want. Because we have responsibility for every single person in the Jewish people. Therefore, in every unit, not just the religious units, but in every unit in Tzahal, we should try to make sure that they can follow Jewish law. As it's not that we're trying to dictate for the non-religious what they should do, but from a philosophical and religious point of view, that the more our soldiers are prepared to give over and to put up fences so that they won't give in to these types of temptations, they will have greater merits. And therefore, everyone could serve in every unit of Tzahal, according to Halacha, without any compromise. And if that's the case, then we will merit that Hashem will be in our midst. B'kerev machanenu, that's what we're talking about, that Hashem will shower His divine presence within the camp of Israel and will save us from our enemies. So our behavior will reflect our commitment, and Hashem will see that and hopefully save us from any peril. So that's very important, and I'm sure it's quite controversial in Israel today. There are actually units that are mixed in the army, so I'm sure that's perhaps what prompted this paragraph from Rav Melamed, but it's an interesting thing that we should learn about in any event. Thank you so much for listening. Hope everyone has a great day. Please continue davening for Chayalei Tzvagan Yisrael, Lord, for Shalema, Am Yisrael, return of all of our hostages, and please take upon yourself to learn something. Le'ili Nishmas, Seren Daniel ben Harav Daron Visheli. Have a great day.